already alluded to, Professor Kanarfogel, what are the major stages in the development of the Tosafot commentaries?
Okay, so let's take our chronological scope. Mid 12th century, again, Rabbeinu Tam. Rashi, we have actually dates of years of birth and of death. Rashi is 1040 to 1105. His grandson, Rabbeinu Tam, again, is a good starting point for now. There are others, but that's a good starting point for now. His dates are 1100 to 1171. So approximately 1147 and a quarter is the beginning. And again, we run until the very end of the 13th century. Mayor of Rothenburg, who's the last of the German Tosafists, though he studied in France, we'll talk about that too. He dies in jail in a very difficult circumstance in 1293. Rabbeinu Peretz of Corbeil, sort of the last of the French Mohegan Tosafists, dies in 1297. So between those years, you're talking about approximately 150 years. The first period, in what some like to call the creative period, which is fair because it's extremely creative, is the period of, in northern France, Rabbeinu Tam, his main student and nephew, Rashi's great-grandson, if you're keeping score, Ri of Dompierre, Yitzchak ben Shmuel of Dompierre, Ri Azaken as he's called, who dies around 1190, and Ri's main student, Reb Shimshon ben Avram Mishans, the Rosh Mishans, who really is responsible in many ways for systemic and systematic formulations. Not that Rabbeinu Tam doesn't write any Tosafot, not that Ri doesn't write any Tosafot. All the scholars argue who was the writer, who was the speaker, who was the better speech maker. They have all kinds of interesting, sort of modern ideas. Who's the talker, who's the writer, and so on. But Rosh Mishans is the one who kind of brings it together. I think, especially for this august audience, Rosh Mishans makes Aliyah in 1210, dies in Israel in 1214, according to tradition, buried somewhere near Har HaKarmel. But in any case, so that first 50, 60 years, that's sort of the first drop in northern France. And that's a very creative drop because we've got this new dialectic method. It's not brand new, but this newly refurbished or newly souped up dialectic as taught by Rabbeinu Tam, as continued by Ri, as formulated. I mean, they're all teachers and all, but as formulated by Rosh Mishans. On the German side during that period, again, different works and different kind of style, but puttable in the same clause. We have, again, just to keep it in the family, somebody like Ra'avan, Rabbi Eliezer ben Nassan of Mainz, who was born before the First Crusade in 1096, about 6 years old when it happened. He then remains in Rhineland, Germany, which, again, not completely incomparable. Well, we don't like to compare any of these things. Same way we talk about how quickly, so to speak, relatively speaking, and how fabulously, relatively speaking, knowing that we lost a lot, how quickly Torah study recovered after the Shoah in Israel, in the United States, and so on. This is, Erev Rosh Hashanah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu works that way, and things recover. So Eliezer of Mainz and his grandson, Raviyah, Eliezer ben Yoel Halevi, grandson through the son-in-law, Rabbi Yoel Halevi, they are in the same period in Germany, the same approximate period. Ra'avan is a contemporary of Rabbeinu Tam. Raviyah is a drop younger than Rosh Mishans. They produce big works of halacha and Tosafot. In other words, it's halach, it's Tosafist halachic study based on the Talmud, similar methods to what's found in France. I like to say, and this is really based on something that Professor Tashma of Hashalom said, I say it my way with American slang, the French Tosafot are a bit friskier, but the method is very similar. And so even though the style is different. And the final point here, by the way, is in addition to the close reading and the dialectic and all this comparison, all this really systematic kind of comparison, leave no stone unturned, there is also application for halacha. And that's, again, what unites. In other words, this is not Rashi on Shas, very rarely paskins the halacha based on sugya A or B. Not his job. He's interpreting. Parshandata. Tosafot, not in every case, but in many, many cases, says, and therefore, because of our analysis, we decided the halacha is this way, that way, in this sugya, the comparative sugya, as Rav Soloveitchik said, the Tosafot created the kosher kitchen because they brought all the sugyot in Avodah Zarah and in Chulin that deal with kashrus. and they did the dialectical scan and comparison, and so the results of what you can do and what you can't do come down very nicely if you look at Tosafot. So these are really to say they're multifaceted works is to understate it.